A really cool tool called the AIA salary calculator. So you can check out AIA.org/salary, and this website breaks down what salaries are across the U.S. for architects at various stages in their career. Like you could run the gamut from first year intern all the way up to principal level income. So basically what you need to know about their list is how it's organized. Obviously CEO, president, all the way at the top. And then you have the emerging professional on the path to licensure, because apparently intern is not a cool word anymore. So for you guys, most of you are probably interested primarily in how much am I going to earn right after I graduate. This is based off of the 2017 AIA compensation report. So it's fairly recent. So let's take a look at intern one. It breaks it down nationally and by region, which is pretty sweet actually. So you can look at like the national amount. So base pay, there's a mean and median. Nationally is around $45,000 a year, 45, 46. When you switch it to, and then they say additional cash compensation, this is like bonuses and stuff. So nationally, there's an average bonus of like almost $2,000, right? It's not a guarantee that you guys are going to get a bonus, just a heads up. Then you can switch it to Pacific, and you can look at this region. So in this region for Alaska, California, Hawaii, Oregon, Washington, the numbers are a little higher, right? And that's because we generally coastal cities and stuff, are a little bit, I guess, wealthier and have a little bit more money in their economy. So we're looking at, in California, anywhere from like 47.3 to 49.5 as a start, if that makes any sense. So that's kind of where you guys are projecting to start your careers at, compensation-wise. Now, very quickly, as long as you guys are good employees, which hopefully you will be after taking this class, you'll see that those numbers jump. Not so much your intern 1 to intern 2 level, but once you get to like number 3, it jumps a couple thousand. That's not really all that impressive yet. But the second you start moving out into your unlicensed architecture positions, it jumps fairly significantly. This is basically like what it means to not be in that emerging professional category. It just means that now you've kind of completed the intern requirements. Like it's as if you're in a position in your office where you've got enough experience that you've completed the AXP. You guys now know what the AXP is because we talked about it on the first day of class. So that is the AIA compensation salary calculator. You can go all the way up and look at Pacific. Oh yeah, Pacific here. Yeah, sorry. So good call. So yeah, I mean, like by the time you get like 2-3 years experience under your belt, I mean, you're going to be in the 60s. So that's I mean, most people fear that you're going to be stuck in like the $40,000-$50,000 range. That's really only going to happen if you work for one of those architects that really takes advantage of you. Generally speaking, you're going to be able to leverage your experience and move up in pay scale a little bit.
Do me one more favor, I'm sorry.
Yeah, sure.
Do the drop down, go down to the very first intern. Yeah.
This one here? Pacific? That one there? Do you have a question about it?
No.
Apparently our bonuses are a little bit less. So, okay. So, and then also I kind of want to just point out, I guess, really important here. The other part of this is it gives you a description of how much experience is the categorical estimate for that position. So for instance, a project manager, per the AIA compensation survey, right? A project manager is someone with 8 or more years of experience. Okay, so that kind of helps you gauge time. So let's jump back into like the unlicensed architecture design staff. That one, it doesn't tell you. Architect 1. Let's go to that. Okay, so that's roughly like 5 or more years experience, which, you know, it's attainable to get 5 or more years experience by the time you're like 3-4 years in.
So that would be your license?
So Architect 1 is licensed, and unlicensed architecture or design staff 1 is unlicensed. Same level of experience, just one has their license, one does not. And it is important to note that you do not need to have a license to be successful in your career in architecture. Not here in the U.S. So.
Does it have a description for the unlicensed architect to design them?
It doesn't. It's the same thing except unlicensed. That's what it says. Yeah. Yes.
So in the case that you don't need licensure or to work on parts of buildings, then the architect on record is liable for work that you may, or errors that you may have done.
That's correct. Yeah. So what Daniel was saying is the responsibility with your license, right? So the discussion about whether or not you want to become licensed, really the only thing that you're doing when you get licensed is you're taking on more liability. It also gives you the opportunity to kind of go off on your own and start your own firm, because you can't stamp drawings unless you're a licensed professional. So if you are doing drawings and you ask someone who is licensed to stamp your drawings, there are ethical problems with that too. But should they do that, they take on all the liability of the drawings that you produced. Okay, but I'm also not naysaying getting your license. The process of the process of going through the process of getting your license will make you a better architect, because it helps force you into looking at the profession as a whole. So you have to know a little bit about business, you have to know a little bit about ethics, project management, delivery, operations. You need to know obviously about building materials and systems and assemblies and stuff like that. Construction and evaluation, some things that if you go into the workforce and you wind up on a design team and all you do is schematic drawings all day long for the rest of your career, you will never have experience in those other things. So there are plenty of upsides to it besides just taking on more risk. Yeah.
So what's your take on architect signing?
Signing?
Yeah, for other work.
So ethically, you're not supposed to sign work that was not done under your supervision. So under my supervision to me means if I've thoroughly reviewed it and I'm willing to accept the risk of it, that is under my supervision. It doesn't have to physically be done with me watching it. But if I supervise it by reviewing it thoroughly, then I take it under my responsibility, and that's allowable, and people do that. There's not really an ethics question on that one, I think, at that end. There is an ethics question of just signing it and not caring. Yeah. All right. Any other questions on the salary calculator? Really cool stuff. I do have one more thing that I want to show you. The NCARB compensation report, I think. Our NCARB, I think, lets you in on salary something. I forget what it's called. You know what? Let me just find this one, and then we'll talk about it. There's the AIA compensation report, which you have to purchase, and then NCARB has a salary thing too. Oh well, I'll find it eventually. Okay. All right, let's move on.
There it is.
Oh, down the bottom? This one? Yeah. No, that's not it. No, that's Glassdoor. No, I thought it would be... Oh well, I'll find it for you guys at some point.